When Christy Chen put her foot down Turtle Island Resort, she couldn't hide her happiness. Before her was a tropical paradise, blue sea, white sand, private beaches, and a romantic vacation that everyone desires. She planned this trip every smallest detail, from choosing the most luxurious resort in Fiji to romantic couple activities such as horseback riding on the beach, scuba diving, and watching the sunset. But just 2 days later, her dream turned into a nightmare. She will never return home. A perfect start to a quick love. Christy, not an ordinary woman. She is one successful pharmacist, won an excellence award at university, and had a solid career. Her friends described Christy as cheerful, kind, and energetic person, a person who always brings joy to everyone around him. Even though she has a stable career, when it comes to love, she's going faster than my mind. In November 2021, Christy met Bradley Dawson, an IT engineer 2 years older than her. Only later, 3 months of dating, Dawson proposed marriage. Miss too passionate in love to see the danger signs. She had no idea that Dawson got divorced just a few months ago. She didn't know about his violent past, about accusations from ex-girlfriend, about his control and erratic personality. Day 18, 2022, Christy and Dawson had a small, private wedding. More than 20 people attended. Christy's friends surprised by the quick decision hers. Some people never met Dawson before, but seeing the happiness of the bride, they could not bear to doubt. Immediately after the wedding, Christy began planning her honeymoon in dream. Heaven is not what she thought. Day 9/7, 2022, Christy and Dawson arrive at Turtle Island Resort, one of Fiji's most luxurious vacation destinations. Everything seems perfect: private space, premium service, only 14 couples on the island. But the next morning, resort staff noticed something unusual. Christy didn't show up at breakfast. Noon, them knock on the villa door, but no one answered. The night before, guests at a nearby villa heard loud arguments, screams, and sounds of a fight. When the housekeeper opened the door with the spare key, they discovered one horrifying scene. Nightmare in the bathroom. The room, scary quiet, but the smell of blood was strong in the air. They see blood stains on the floor, the bathroom window is broken, toilet lid broken. And right next to the toilet, Christy Chen's body was buried between the wall and the toilet. Miss no longer recognizable. Her skull was broken, causing serious bleeding in the brain. The face is swollen and deformed, with many bruises from being hit hard. She was brutally attacked in her own romantic villa. But Dawson is gone. The husband is missing, and there are traces of his escape. What confuses the police is this: Dawson left no trace in the mansion. He didn't bring his phone, the only device that can be tracked. He left his GPS watch on the beach, as if deliberately erasing traces, but he took Christy's passport, wallet, and personal documents. He has escaped. But where to hide when there's only sea and small islands? The end of the escape. 36 hours later, police received news from a fisherman on a nearby island. A man covered in wounds, panicked, and reeking of alcohol. Satisfied, appeared on the island. "Please call the police." "That is it, Bradley Dawson," he said, just arguing with his wife, then left at night by a kayak. But the police, no kayaks were found nearby. His lies began to reveal themselves. A warning for hasty love dreams. Christy Chen believed that I'm entering a perfect marriage, but she didn't know that you're walking into a deadly trap. Relationships move too fast, often conceals terrible dangers. Do you really know the person you're marrying? Are there signs of control, jealousy, or violence? Marriage is not a destination, it is a journey. If someone rushes you along too quickly, stop and think. Christy doesn't get a second chance, but you there may be. Be careful with hasty love. It can kill you. When the police approached the scene, they quickly realized this is not an accident. Christy Chen is not egoistic. She did not die from an unexpected incident. She was murdered. But the murderer, her newlywed husband, Bradley Dawson, has disappeared. From the beginning, all signs pointed Dawson has a plan to escape. He didn't bring his phone, avoid being tracked via GPS. He left his smartwatch on the beach, deliberately creating false signs about the last place he appeared. He took Christy's passport, wallet, and documents. Him never tried to save his wife. Don't call an ambulance. Don't ask anyone for help. Him just want to escape. But where to hide when Turtle Island is just an isolated island surrounded by ocean? The hunt on the Paradise Island. Police and resort staff immediately blockade of the entire resort, blocking all entrances and exits. They check all boats, but Dawson wasn't there. He did disappear into the night. Throughout 36 hours, rescuers scoured everywhere, from the island's jungles to nearby beaches. They are even mobilized helicopters to search from above. But there were no traces. The whole island seemed to swallow him up. Call from a fisherman. A strange man appeared. When hope gradually dries out, police received a tip-off from a fisherman on the island of Maka Levu, approx 1.2 miles. I just met a man who looked very panicked. He appeared drunk, his clothes were wrinkled, his limbs were covered in wounds, and he kept talking about an argument. Police immediately flocked to Maka Levu, and they found Dawson. He's sitting on the beach. One hand holds a passport, the other holds cash, as if trying to escape. When the police approached, he did not resist. He knew his escape was over. At the police station, Dawson was cooperative. He told his story clearly, but yes, too many holes. We had an argument, but I didn't kill her. I left to give both of us time to calm down. I kayaked and left the resort at 2 a.m. I don't know what happened to Christy. But the police don't believe him. If he really cared about his wife, why didn't he call an ambulance when he left? If he was innocent, why did he bring his passport and cash, necessary things to escape? And most importantly, no one found any kayaks. How did he get to Maka Levu? Dawson's testimony does not match the evidence. And then, the police found out. One thing that changed everything completely. Dawson has been to Turtle Island before. Christy believed she could get married a kind, trustworthy man. But little did she know that Dawson had a troubled past. After his arrest, investigators find Dawson's ex-girlfriend, Kristen Baker. What she revealed painted a completely different picture about him. Dawson is a controlling and violent person. When he was dating Baker, he often shouting, threatening, and tough. One time he even assaulted her. He is a heavy drinker. Every time he gets drunk, he became a different person. Aggressive, out of control, and unable to remember what he had done. He's obsessed with Fiji. Ever since college, Dawson always said that Fiji is paradise, that he must go there at least once in your life. And here's the most shocking thing. Dawson was once married. Right here in Fiji. In 2019, he held a wedding also on this island with another woman. But only later, less than 3 years, him divorced and soon after married Christy. Does Christy know about this? Her friends believe that she was unaware. Miss only seeing Dawson's elegant appearance without realizing that you are walking into a deadly trap. After Bradley Dawson was arrested, him deny all sins. He told the police that he did nothing wrong, that Christy was still alive when he left, and that he just wanted to go for a walk to calm down. But is that true? Who really is Bradley Dawson? When investigators looked into his past, a completely different image appears. Dawson not the kind, loving man he tries to portray. He is dangerous, controlling, and has a history of violence. And Christy did not know this until it was too late. When reviewing Dawson's legal records, police discover a shocking secret. Dawson has been married before, and he also honeymooned in Fiji itself. His divorce records are at Shelby County Court, Tennessee. Shows Dawson married in September 2019, also at Fiji. He filed for divorce September 2021 for the reason of inability to get along. The divorce was okay, completed in January 2022, just a month before he married Christy. This means that when Dawson started dating Christy in 2021, he was still in another marriage. Does Christy know this? Or Dawson hid the truth from her? When Christy's friends were asked about this, they shocked. No one knew that Dawson had been married before, and more importantly, why did he choose Fiji again? But that's it, not everything. When reporters came, Kristen Baker, Dawson's ex-girlfriend, his story becomes more and more terrifying. Baker was dated Dawson in 2005, when both were students at the University of Tennessee. At first, Dawson showed off sincere and charming, exactly the same way he approached Christy. But after just a few months, Baker realized his real face. Dawson tends to control, always wanted to know Baker. Where are you? What are you doing? And who are you with? When drinking, he become another person. Hot-tempered, easily angered, and have a tendency to violence. Once, after an argument, he pushed Baker down on the bed and used force to control her. Baker was lucky, escaped from Dawson, but she never forgot what he did. When I heard about Christie's case, I immediately knew it was him. I knew he would do this to someone. I just don't know when." Baker's words made many people shuddered. Will Dawson have done this before? But only Christie was the first victim to lose her life. Now, looking back, everyone realizes that Christie has fallen into a trap. Dawson's strong attack, right from the start. Only later, 3 months of dating, he proposed marriage. He paints a story beautiful about love, leading Christie to believe that he is the perfect man. But him never told her about his past, about a previous marriage, about control, and about anger that the women had previously witnessed. Christie, there is no chance to recognize these signs, because Dawson made her believe that he was a good man. But when they arrived in Fiji, when wine and the truth begins to reveal itself, Dawson was unable to hide his true nature, and Christie had to pay with his own life. 1. Don't ignore the warning signs. Someone who controls you, want to know everything about you. That's not love, that's control. Someone pushes you in a relationship too fast. Ask yourself, why? One person has a mysterious past and avoids talking about it. Find out before it's too late. 2. Support people experiencing violence in marriage. Christie did not know that Dawson had been abusive, but if you know someone in a dangerous relationship, please speak up. Trust the words of previous victims. If Baker had been listened to, perhaps Christie could have been saved. 3. Don't let Dawson get away with it. Him planned to escape, but he cannot run away from justice. On February 27, 2025, he will be sentenced, and we must ensure he received the highest sentence possible. Christie Chen fell in love with a man she didn't really know, misplaced his trust in a liar, without anyone warning her first. Miss don't deserve to die this way. But if we learned nothing from her tragedy, if we let people like Dawson continue to harm others, then there will be more Christies. We cannot let that happen. If you know someone in a dangerous relationship, help them before it's too late. After the truth about her dark past, Bradley Dawson exposed, the most important question remains unanswered. Will justice be served? Christie Chen was brutally murdered on my own honeymoon, but Dawson still denies the crime. Could a liar with a history of violence try to run away? Escape the proper sentence? We won't let that happen. Day 12/12/2024. Dawson's formal trial at Supreme Court of Fiji. From the very beginning, his defense attorney tried to change the direction of the case. They argue that Dawson had no intention of killing Christie, that he was just trying to defend himself during an argument, and that her death was an accident. But let's look at the evidence. Christie was not just injured, she was beaten to the point that her face was no longer recognizable. Her skull was fractured, showing signs of being hit hard with a hard object. The toilet lid is broken, matched the fatal wound on her head. Dawson has run away immediately after the incident. Bring your passport and cash, but never called an ambulance. If this is just an accident, why him not do anything to save his wife? No one believes him. No one. Christie's family flew to Fiji immediately after the murder, but when they arrived, they no longer have a chance to bring their daughter home. Because the injury was so serious, the doctor advised them to cremation of Christie in Fiji, instead of bringing her body back to America. We sent her on her honeymoon, but had to bring her ashes home. Christie's parents said with tears in their eyes. But the most painful thing, they couldn't accept Dawson's excuses. If he really loved my daughter like he said, why did he leave her to die? Christie should have had a happy life, but Ms. trusted the wrong person, and the price to pay is too terrible. Her family only wants one thing: justice. Day 27/02/2025, the court sentenced Dawson guilty of murder, but the biggest question remains: what sentence will he receive? Life in prison or just a lighter sentence? Because even though was found guilty, Dawson, there is still a chance to apply for a reduced sentence in the future. That is something we cannot accept. No sentence can bring Christie back. But if Dawson not be punished appropriately, then does real justice exist? 1. Demand the maximum penalty for Dawson. We must ensure that he has no chance of returning to society and harming anyone else. Life imprisonment is the only acceptable option. 2. Support the victim's family. Christie's family has lost a daughter, but they should not lose faith in justice. We can speak up to ensure they get the justice they deserve. 3. Warn women about dangerous relationships. Christy doesn't know Dawson's past. She did not know that he had abused his ex-girlfriend. We need to share this story so other women can see the warning signs before it's too late. Bradley Dawson tried to run away. He thought he can get away with it by creating a false story, but he was until Christy. There is no longer a chance to tell the truth, but we can do it for her. If you believe that justice must be served, share this story. The trial ended with a verdict guilty for Bradley Dawson. But that's it. It's not the end yet. Dawson still has not received the final sentence, and it is possible that he will seek to have his sentence reduced. Does the judicial system really protect justice, or will we witness one numrebeth? The murderer escaped the death penalty and enjoyed a gentle life in prison. We cannot let that happen. After being convicted killing, Dawson immediately changed tactics. Him no longer insist on innocence, but instead he plays the role of a pitiful man, falling into despair. His defense attorney argued, Dawson is not an intentional killer. He just acts inside an uncontrolled anger, had no intention of taking Christy's life. He is suffering psychological damage, deeply regretful, and deserving of a chance social reintegration. They're trying to make Dawson a victim. But this is not an accident. This is a brutal murder. Him don't just hit Christy, but also leaving her to die, already flee without even calling an ambulance. Does a person truly regret it? Leaving his wife to slowly die in the bathroom? We all know the answer. Christy's family still can't calm down. No sentence can bring her back, but we can't let him get away with it. They lost their daughter cruelly, but now they are losing faith in justice. Because if Dawson gets a reduced sentence, that means Beliar. The legal system is taking Christy's life for granted, and that's the thing we cannot accept. 1. Put pressure on the Fijian courts to ensure Dawson receives the maximum sentence. We can't let him have the chance to be pardoned early. Please speak up on social networks. Share this story so that justice is not forgotten. 2. Support Christy's family in their fight for justice. They have lost a daughter, but they should not lose faith in justice. Every word shared, every voice of support helps them fight to the end. 3. Don't give people like Dawson the opportunity to commit more crimes. If he gets a reduced sentence, he could return to society, could find another woman, and could harm another victim. We need to make sure that people like Dawson never have the chance to hurt anyone again. Bradley Dawson tried to run away. He thought he can use money and lies to get away with it. But justice cannot be bribed. Christy was unable to protect himself, but we can protect her honor and memory. Please share this story. Speak up. Let's demand justice. After the court announced Bradley Dawson is guilty, everyone hopes that he will accept highest sentence, life imprisonment without parole. But reality not so simple. Dawson's lawyer didn't give up. They continued file an appeal, with hope, reduce the sentence, or find a way to circumvent the law so he doesn't have to spend the rest of his life in prison. The judicial system now facing a big challenge. Can Dawson get away with legal tricks? Or will justice prevail and he will be punished appropriately? Christy's family and everyone who followed the case, holding my breath, waiting for an answer. Dawson, I can no longer deny my sins. The evidence is clear. So his lawyer changed tactics. They no longer tried to prove him innocent, but instead, they find ways to reduce penalties. They make the argument that Dawson has mental illness at the time of the crime, and therefore he is not fully responsible for his actions. They even asked for it, a psychological test, to see if Dawson could be transferred to a mental hospital instead of a prison. This is a dangerous tactic. If Dawson succeeds, he could have been detained for only a few years at a medical facility, instead of being imprisoned for life. If that happens, he will have the opportunity to return to society and possibly continue to harm others. Christy's family wrath to Dawson's attempts to escape sentence. He is not mentally ill. He knew what he was doing when he killed my daughter. If he really lost control, why did he remember to bring his passport and cash to escape? They appealed to the court. Don't let him take advantage of the legal system to reduce his punishment. We cannot let him continue to live comfortably while my daughter is no more. And they are not the only ones who feel this way. The online community, Christy's family supporters, and anti-domestic violence organizations spoke up simultaneously, requesting. The Fijian court did not let Dawson take advantage of the law to escape crime. The crime he committed cannot be overlooked. He is not a victim. He is a murderer. After reviewing all the evidence, psychological experts concluded that Dawson was completely conscious at the time of the crime. His defense was rejected. Enter February 27, 2025, the Fijian court declared Dawson will be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He will never have the chance to step out of prison bars again. Final. Justice has won. But is that enough to ease Christy's family's pain? Christy Chen don't deserve to die. She's a talented, kind woman with a bright future ahead. But she trusted the wrong person. She didn't know that Dawson has a history of violence, that he has a suspicious past that he keeps hidden. And when she realized the truth, it's too late. We cannot change the past, but we can learn from Christy's tragedy. Domestic violence should never be taken lightly. Don't ignore the warning signs in a relationship. If someone has a questionable past, do your research before committing. Christy didn't get a second chance, but you can have. Dawson's verdict is a victory for justice, but it can't bring Christy back. The only thing we can do is to ensure that no one else suffers the same fate as her. If you know someone in a dangerous relationship, help them. If you notice signs of violence, don't stay silent. If you believe in justice, speak up. Christy was unable to save himself, but we can protect others. Don't let her story be forgotten.